Mae dyn ni helpwyr ar gyfer y sesiwn heddi, felly bechgyn, chi eisiau dod lawr, dewch i'r canol fan hyn. Felly mae dyn ni helpwyr neu gwyddonwyr ifanc falle o Ysgol y Berllan Deg yng Nghaerdydd, felly chi eisiau dweud helo wrth bawb yng Nghymru, da iawn. Nawr, maen nhw'n mynd i helpu ni gyda'r dasgau heddi. So the boys are going to help us to complete some tasks today. They're going to be doing the same tasks as you're going to be doing with your teacher in your classrooms. Okay, so we're looking forward to doing that. It will take a slightly different format today with you doing most of the work rather than watching us. So you'll have time allocations for completing those bits of work. But, and we will repeat this a few times during this session, please don't worry if you don't get a chance to finish everything within the allocated time or even within the hour session, because you're going to have all the way up until next week to complete those pieces of work. Felly, dim problem, peidiwch â phoeni o gwbl. Right, bechgyn, chi eisiau mynd i ysyn lawr? Daw chi. Da iawn. Diolch yn fawr.
Okay, so like Rhys said, a slightly different format for today, okay? You guys are going to be having a little bit more time in order to complete some work, and our helpers are going to be having a go at what you will be doing in class today. And can we just say again, a huge thank you to all of those predictions that got sent in. If we didn't, obviously we couldn't show everybody's. If you haven't had a chance for your work to be shown yet, do not worry at all. There'll be the opportunity again at the end of the session today to get some stuff sent in to us. And fingers crossed, we'll be able to show as many as we can next week. Okay, so today we need to carry on with our investigation. Let's just remind ourselves what it is. The title, we are going to be looking at which liquid is best at cleaning those dirty coins, cleaning that oxide layer off the surface of those coins. Last time we wrote our predictions, so they were amazing, and we set you a little challenge of writing your equipment list. We're going to be having a little look and thinking about those in just a sec, but what we're hoping to complete by the end of today's session is to finish our plan, if you like. We're going to look at our equipment list. We're going to talk about what a scientific diagram would look like. We are going to mention something called variables, which might seem tricky, but I promise we'll explain everything to do with those. And then we need to write our all-important method, okay? That is the step-by-step instructions that we need to follow in order to carry out our experiment next week, okay? Because that's what we're going to be doing next week, is actually doing the experiment live with you guys. So really, really important that we finish our plan. As you can see up on the screen there, all those different steps. And we're going to start with equipment. But rather than dive straight into our equipment list, let's just ease you in gently and have a little think if we can pick out some scientific equipment. And Ray has got a bit of a challenge for you.
I do. Now, before you see the challenge, okay, we have a quiz, and that quiz is just lots and lots of images on the screen that you're going to see in a second. You're not going to have much time. We would just like you to have a look at those images and see if you can find 5 pieces of scientific equipment. So 5 darn o offer wyddonol. There'll be other things in there as well, some which have links to science, but don't get confused with those, okay? We want 5 pieces of equipment. If you find those 5 pieces, see if you can name them. And then the extra challenge on top of that, do you think you know what they're used for? So are you ready to see all of those images? See if you can spot them. You can shout them out if your teacher allows, okay? So 3, 2, 1. Here they come. Off you go. Can you see any bits of equipment? Can you see any, Val?
I can see a flying duck.
Okay, that's not
science equipment. No, we got that.
I can see a rat that has no fur, no
naked
hair.
Rat there. We've also got a T-Rex. None of these are science equipment.
Definitely
have a little think. Hopefully you guys have done a better job of spotting.
I can see an omelette, which is making me hungry, actually.
I'm quite hungry too.
Yeah,
just a few more seconds. Have you spotted those 5 pieces of science? Is that a shark or a whale? What can I see?
Oh, it's a dolphin. Yeah,
dolphin. Oh gosh, can't even see that properly.
Well done. I think that is probably enough time. Did you manage to find all 5 pieces? Wnaethoch chi ffeindio'r 5 darn o offer tybed. So let's have a look at the 5 pieces of scientific equipment that we wanted you to spot. So here we have beaker, okay? We have stopwatch, amserydd. We have a conical flask, flask gonigol. We've got a measuring cylinder, cylinder mesur. And then the last one is a syringe, a chwistrell. Okay, so we've named them. Do you know what they're used for? That was the extra challenge. A lot to do, I know, within those few seconds, okay? but let's have a look. So we've got our beaker here that has some liquid in. So it's usually used for holding liquids, I ddal hylifau. Okay. And then we have our stopwatch, yr amserydd, which is used for recording time. So if you're timing an experiment, you would want to use a stopwatch. And then this piece of equipment, you might remember from last week, this is a flasgonigol, a conical flask, used for mixing liquids usually, okay? Our next piece of scientific equipment is this measuring cylinder mesur, and there's a bit of a clue there, isn't it? It's used for measuring liquids. In fact, it's the best piece of equipment in the lab for measuring this kind of thing, measuring liquids. And then finally, one also from last session, you might remember, is your syringe or chwistrell. And this is used for measuring volumes of liquids and gases too. So there's your 5 pieces of equipment. Well done if you managed to find all 5 of those.
Now, in terms of our equipment list, let's think about our experiment. We're not actually going to be using many of these pieces of equipment, if any. Probably, yeah, thanks Ray, probably the stopwatch. Now, it doesn't matter if you don't have a stopwatch like this for the experiment. You can just use one on your computer at school, laptop, whatever it is. It'll be okay just as long as you've got a way of measuring time, okay? So let's have a think about your equipment list. That was your challenge as well as your prediction last week. What are we actually going to need in order to be able to carry out this experiment? Now, the reason why we've chosen this experiment is because it doesn't involve lots of pieces of science equipment that you might not have at your schools. We can just use everyday household items that you will be able to easily get your hands on. So if we have a quick look at what we have written as your equipment list, okay? So hopefully you can see on the screen there, we have got 6 cups, because if you remember, we are going to be testing 6 different liquids. Obviously, the next piece of equipment is those 6 liquids. Let's just have a quick recap on what they were. We've got the tomato ketchup, we've got the cooking oil, the milk, the bicarbonate of soda solution, the washing up liquid, and the 6th liquid was one that you could choose. Now, as you saw from some of those predictions at the beginning, some people had chosen cola, some people had chosen lemon juice, vinegar, whatever you have chosen as your 6th liquid, that goes onto your equipment list. We've also got the 6 dirty coins. Now remember, they have to be the copper coins, either 1 pence or 2 pence pieces. And they all have to be the same level of dirtiness, okay? You can't have some really clean and some dirty, as much as we can, about as dirty as each other. That should hopefully have been easy for you guys to put those things on your list. We've got a few extra things on there that maybe you didn't include. Now, that doesn't matter at all, and you don't have to jot these down now. You can have time between now and next week in order to add these to your list. We've put 6 spoons on there. What do we need a spoon for this experiment? Well, it's to keep your fingers nice and clean. As you pull out the coins, or after you've left the coins in for a certain amount of time, you might not want to dip your fingers in that ketchup and those oil and things like that in order to get the coin out. So the spoon is for fishing those coins out. We also need our stopwatch, okay, in order to time. They need to be kept in there for the same amount of time. We'll discuss that a little bit later. And then the other things, cloths, or kitchen roll or something, anything to rub the coins afterwards to get rid of the liquid and to see how shiny they are after having been in there. Lastly, the things that we've put on there that you might be able to see, we've got a tray or a plate and a pen. Those are for, basically, the tray plate for keeping your school desk nice and clean, hopefully. And then the pen just for labelling. So we make sure we remember which cup has got which liquid in it. Okay, so that is what we think is the equipment list for this. And remember, if you're doing it as one big class, you'll just need 1 set of equipment. If you're doing it in small groups, you need that equipment per group. Okay?
Brilliant. Felly, just fel recap yn Gymraeg, bydd angen 6 cwpan neu gwydryn ar gyfer hwn, a dim ots pa fath i nhw, okay, unrhyw beth yn iawn. Bydd angen y 6 hylif, felly y 5 wnaethon ni sôn am, sef saws coch, hydoddiant sodiwm bicarbonat, olew coginio, llaeth a hylif golchi llestri, a wedyn cofiwch y 6ed un yw bydd bynnag chi wedi dewis fel dosbarth neu fel grŵp. Okay? Wedyn bydd angen 6 darn o arian brwnt, okay, ar gyfer yr arbrawf yma, a cofio mae rai bod nhw yr un fath o darnau. Okay? 6 llwy, fel ddwedodd Mel, mwyn tynnu'r darnau o arian allan o'r hylif a cadw'ch bysedd chi yn lan. 6 clwtyn mwyn glanhau'r darnau o arian. Okay. Hambwrdd neu plat, mae hwn mwyn tynnu'r darnau o arian allan a rhoi nhw rywle, felly unrhyw beth o gwbl ar gyfer rhoi y darnau o arian ar ôl iddyn fod yn yr hylifau. Ac yn ola, pen neu rhyw ffordd o labelu pob cwpan, fel bod chi'n gwybod pa cwpan sy'n cynnwys pa hylif, fel bod chi ddim yn drysu neu anghofio dros amser beth sydd wedi bod mewn pob cwpan. Okay? So, I think we're going to move over now to diagrams. Now, every good science investigation needs a diagram. Okay, so we thought we would include one in this science investigation. A diagram is just a very simple drawing of the setup of equipment. Okay, it doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, you will see on the screen now an example of the diagram that we would like you to produce for this particular experiment. So you can see on the screen, it's very simple indeed, and we'd like you to produce your own diagram. Now, I'm going to go over with the boys and get them started on their task. I'll leave it with you.
So it doesn't have to be a pretty picture. That's not what we're looking for. It's just very simply drawing out the 6 cups with the 6 coins and the 6 liquids. And what we're hoping that you might get time to do in this little section is we should have a labeled diagram, annotated. That means we want to label the cup, label the coin, label the 6 different liquids. Now, we know that that's asking a lot in the 10 minutes that we're about to give you. But remember, and we will keep repeating this, it doesn't matter if you don't finish in this time. You'll have plenty of time between now and next week to get your labels in. If you focus on getting your diagram drawn, and then you can add your labels as and when that you get time to finish anything throughout the week. So what we'd like you to do now is complete your diagram in this time. You will have 10 minutes. So off you go.
Wedyn 10 minutes again then, isn't it? Okay, well, croeso nôl. Welcome back. Hope you managed to have a go at your diagrams. But like we said, if you didn't finish, don't worry at all. You have plenty of time between now and next week. Bechgyn, sut oedd hynna? Wnaethoch chi gwblhau? Okay, so newn ni edrych ar gwaith y bechgyn fan hyn den. Felly, yr un gyntaf, diagram hyfryd, chwarae teg I ti. Felly, os ni'n edrych ar diagram fyna, lle ni weld yr holl offer. A ti hefyd wedi llwyddo I anodi. We've also had a bit of time there to annotate, to label the diagram. So don't worry if you didn't get a chance to do that, but that's fantastic. Ardderchog. Unrhyw beth ti eisiau dweud? Beth oedd y chweched hylif? What was the sixth liquid that you chose there?
Cola.
Cola. Good choice. Da iawn, fi'n hoffi hwnna. Gwych. Ac ei edrych ar un ti? Oh, fantastic. So mae dyn ni'r un arall. Oh, hwn yn edrych yn wych. Nawr, Maxen said something during this. Maxen, do you like drawing?
No.
He doesn't like drawing. Okay, but was that a problem? It wasn't. Na, oedd e'n fine. Da iawn ti. O ti di wneud? Mae rai fi ddangos hwn. Okay. Fi wedi dangos fan hyn. Y diagram hyfryd nes ti ar y dderchog. So dwi ddim yn hoffi arlunio, fel gallwch chi weld, mae di wneud job arbennig fyna ac wedi anodi. Fyswn ni ddim yn dweud bod ti ddim yn gallu arlunio. Mae hwnna'n ffantastig ar y dderchog.
Yeah.
Felly, da iawn draw I mewn.
Okay, diolch Rhi, thank you very much. Now, those diagrams were excellent. And just like that there, I also do not like drawing, okay? But as a scientist and as a science teacher, you often have to draw diagrams for your experiments. It doesn't matter in any way, shape or form. Like I said before you went away for your break, it doesn't have to be a pretty picture. It is literally just a diagram of how the equipment is set up. And if you need a little bit more time to finish, I know the 10 minutes there, maybe it was a bit of a rush, maybe you had plenty of time, okay? It doesn't matter in any way, shape or form. All you know that you've got to do, and that picture will be in the video and in the PowerPoint for you that you can have a little look at, is just finish it before next time, so you've got a complete plan. Okay, what we are moving on to now is the thing I said at the beginning that might be a little bit complicated. It might be the thing that you haven't really heard of before when doing experiments, that we might need to explain in a little bit more detail, and that's absolutely fine. Okay. This section of the plan for our investigation is our variables. Now, the word vary means to change. So a variable in a practical, in an experiment, is just something that could change. Now, there are 3 types of variables in a scientific investigation. You've got the thing that you want to change, the thing that we are choosing to change, the thing that we are investigating, okay? And so for our experiment, if you think about what our title is, which type of liquid would be the best at cleaning the coins? Well, obviously, that's what we've chosen to change. We are going to be changing the type of liquid. That is what we call our independent variable. It's the one we want to change. Okay, that's our first type of variable. The second type of variable is the thing that we are going to measure. Now, if you remember back to last week, okay, what we said we're going to be measuring as part of this experiment, how we're going to know which one is the best, is we're going to be looking at the shininess of the coin, how shiny it is after it's been submerged in those liquids. So that is the thing that we are measuring, the variable that we are measuring. So the one we change is the type of liquid. The one we're measuring is the shininess of the coin. The third type of variable Okay, and for this one, there could be lots of them. These are the things that could change, but if they did, they would change our experiment result. Okay, and we don't want that to happen. The only thing we want to investigate is the type of liquid. So all of those other things, we've got to keep them the same. So things like, remember how I said we can only use copper coins? We can't start using 10p pieces. We wouldn't get the same results. So we must keep the type of coin the same. These are the things that we've got to do in order to make it a fair test, because there are over, I think last week it was nearly 100 schools signed up to this so far, and that is all across Wales, and we want to all be doing the same experiment so we can compare our results. But if somebody uses 10p pieces and somebody else uses 2p pieces, then we can't make that comparison. So we've got to keep them the same to make it a fair test. Now there'll be quite a few others. If I pull up the screen that you guys will be looking at for your next little work window, okay, this gives us a little breakdown of our variables. There we go, you should be able to see it now. So the first one is asking us what our independent variable is, what we're choosing to change. Remember, that's the type of liquid. Then it asks us what we're going to measure. Well, we said we were going to measure the shininess of the coin. And the third question there is about all of those things that we need to keep the same. Now, you will be able to see on your screen that all of the answers are down the bottom there, all of them. But obviously, 2 of them are in the wrong place. You need to find from that bottom section the independent variable, type of liquid, and the one that we're going to measure. Tell you because you should know that by now. And then all of the others are all those things that we have to keep the same to make it a fair test. They will make up the answer to part 3. So that will be the type of coin, the amount of liquid. Now we know that in schools you might not have measuring cylinders in order to measure, but you just want to roughly make sure you keep each liquid the same. It'll be the time that we keep it in there for. If one group chooses to keep it in there for 2 minutes and another group keeps it in there for 20 minutes, are they going to get the same results or similar results? No, which is why we've got to keep the amount of time that it's in the liquid the same as well. And there are a few others that you will be able to see there. Now, however you've chosen to do this in your class, you might be writing this in your books, you might be writing it on the worksheets, you might be completing one of the worksheets, okay? For some of you, there's not going to be those questions there. So what we want you to do in these 10 minutes that we give you, and like we said, don't worry, that may or may not be enough time. You'll have plenty of time to catch up afterwards. In those 10 minutes, we want you to write down your variables. So if you're in your books or you're writing it on the worksheet that has got no questions, just pop it in full sentences for us. The independent variable is the type of liquid. The one that we're measuring is, and then just jot down all the other things that we have to keep the same to make it a fair test. Okay, remember they're all at the bottom of the screen there. You've got to choose the 2 that answer questions 1 and 2, and then everything else will be things that we need to keep the same to make it a fair test. So we'll have a look what our helpers have done after these 10 minutes, just to give you a bit of an idea. But now over to you, off you go. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Do you see what we mean now when we said there was a bit more for you guys to be getting on with today? Hopefully, fingers crossed, in those 10 minutes, you've made a good start on working through your variables. Now, what you'll be able to see on the screen still, apart from me and our lovely helpers over there, is the information about the variables. Now, what we'll do is we'll just do a quick shift, and hopefully those two answers for the independent variable, the thing that we're changing, and the one that we are measuring will magically rearrange themselves into the right place. There we go. So obviously the one we've chosen to change is the type of liquid. That is what we're investigating. What we are measuring is the shininess of the coin, or the coin shininess at the end, and everything else that is left on the bottom there is in the right place. Those are all of the things that we have to keep the same in order to make this a fair test, like the amount of time that it's in there, the type of coin, the amount of liquid, all of these things, super important in order to keep the same. Now, whilst you were working really hard, our helpers in share with us today were working really hard, right, Ree?
They have been working very hard, yes. Now, whether you completed this on one of the worksheets or in your school books, okay, it doesn't matter. You have both done it on one of these sheets. So let's take a look here at the first bit of work there. Da iawn ti, newid a nefyna, hyfryd. So os fi jyst yn darllen beth ti wedi rhoi lawr fel y newidyn annibynnol. Ar gyfer yr arbrawf hwn, yr hylif rydym yn defnyddio i lanhau'r darnau arian fydd y newid. Felly, ardderchog, ti'n iawn. Hwna'n ffantastig. A wedyn draw i ti, felly newn ni edrych ar y newidyn ti'n mesur, ie? Felly, dyma ni, a sy'n edrych ar llawysgrifen hyfryd fyna. Da iawn. Byddwn yn mesur pa mor lan fydd y darnau arian ar ôl defnyddio'r hylifau. Da iawn. Felly, gwaith ffantastig, da iawn chi, bechgyn.
Okay, right, now back to me. Hello, nice to see you all again. Now is the important bit. We are almost at the end of our plan. Not that the rest of it hasn't been important, but the very, very important bit for today, we've got to finish our plan. And that means working on our method. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to give you everything you need to know to write a good method. And then your challenge by next week is to write us a method for the experiment that we are going to be carrying out next week. So let's talk about what a method is, first of all, and why it is important. The method needs to be a clear step-by-step instruction list, if you like, of everything that needs to take place in an experiment. It has to involve command words, okay? Things that like take or place or leave or pour. Some of those might be important for you when you write your method. It could be cut, it could be, I can't think of any more off the top of my head now, but any kind of command words, we're going to give you a lot more in a minute. Now, what we thought the easiest way to explain to you the importance of a method would be to walk you through a couple of methods, okay? So what we're going to do is Ree is going to read out a couple of methods. I'm going to try and follow one, see if I can get the results that she wants. And then our lovely helpers over there are going to follow another of Ree's methods for an experiment, just to see if we can get the same results. Because that is the whole point of a method. You have to be able to pick up somebody else's method and carry out the experiment exactly like they've done and trying to get same or similar results. So, Ree, are you ready for me?
I'm ready. Are you ready to follow my method? So I'm going to read a method, point form, and let's see if Mel can follow this method correctly.
I'll try my best.
Do you think she can do it? I think ready. Yeah. Okay, let's give it a...
They said no then.
They said yes, definitely. Okay. Don't you worry. Now, point number 1. Bend the paperclip into a heart shape.
Okay, so here's my paperclip. I'm going to bend it into a heart shape. This is probably as good as you're getting.
Oh,
is that okay?
Fantastic. Hyfryd. Point 2. Place the heart shape paperclip onto a white plate.
Ta-da!
Ardderchog. Da iawn. So far, so good. Transfer 100 millilitres of hot water from the insulated flask into a beaker. Okay, so you can't see the insulated flask, but that's what I'm about to do now. You'll probably hear it. I'm transferring. How much, Ree? 100 millilitres. Okay. Yeah, but so far, so she's got fit in that. Yes. Done. Okay. Point 4. Pour hot water onto the paperclip until it covers it. Okay, here we go. Kind of Alice, watch carefully. Barod? Off you go. Beth ydych chi weld hwnna? Did you see that? Fantastic. And point 5 is record your observations, but don't worry about doing that. Can you tell us what happened instead?
Okay, so my observation is obviously that my heart that I made out of my paperclip has gone back into a paperclip. Now, we've kind of tricked you here, haven't we? Just because we wanted to show you something as cool as last week. But this is no ordinary paperclip. This paperclip is made out of nitinol. It's a very special material. It's known as a shape memory alloy. It basically, what that means is it remembers its shape at certain temperatures. I'm just going to show you one more time because it is really very cool. If I turn it back to that heart, okay, you can't do this with the paper clips that you guys have in class, but if I pour that water over again, it's got to be hot water. This one remembers its shape at really, really high temperatures. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Ta-da! And it remembered its shape. Recorded my results, followed your method again, Rhi, and I think I got the same answer twice. Was that okay?
That was fantastic. Da iawn, Mel. Felly, just as a recap, bydd ni'n mynd i cael recap o'r dull. If you can see on the screen now, we have some of those words in bold. Those are the command words, and a method should start with a command word so that it is clear and easy to follow. If you're following a method, you want everyone who uses that method to do exactly the same thing. Felly, just i fynd dros cwpl o'r geiriau yna. So we've got bend, place, transfer, pour and record. Ac yn Gymraeg, plygwch, rowch, trosglwyddwch, tywalltwch a cofnodwch. Felly dyna'r gorchmynion. Those are the command words, some examples of some of those words that you might use for a method. Okay. Okay. So now we're going to do a different method, and this time we're going to get some of our helpers. Felly, chi eisiau dod lan? Do you want to come up? And we'll see if they can follow a method this time. Okay, felly, na fe, bob ochr. So we've got a different method. Now this method, we won't tell Mel, this is a little more complicated, okay? So we've got a slightly difficult method, more difficult method for you to follow, okay? So we ready? Ydyn ni'n barod?
You can pop your goggles on if you want.
Fantastic,
you don't have to,
yeah.
but pop them on if you want to.
There we go, fantastic.
There we go, scientists.
So here we go. So first of all, measure 200 millilitres of water using a measuring cylinder and pour into the beaker. Felly, chi'n mynd i mesur y dŵr trwy ddefnyddio cylinder mesur, a wedyn tywall na fe mewn i'r beaker.
Perfect.
Ardderchog, cam 1 wedi wneud, step 1 done. Perfect. Right, next, add 1 teaspoon of calcium chloride, which is this white powder, okay, into the water. Oh, well, they're doing very well, aren't they? Da iawn, chi'n neud yn dda iawn, hyd yn hyn. Put your spoons down, fantastic. Step 3, stir the water with a stirring stick until all the calcium chloride has dissolved. Felly, cymysgwch, okay? Cymysgwch y dŵr gyda'r prenin cymysgu nes i'r holl calcium chloride hydoddi yn y dŵr. Mae hwnna'n rili bwysig, okay? Chi'n twyd beth, sgiliau da fyna, chi eisiau dal y beaker, na fe dal gyda, o na ti'n okay, llai wneud hynna, okay? So, sgiliau da yn dal y beaker, they're doing well, holding the beaker whilst they stir, okay? Okay.
Good job.
Okay, da iawn. Next then, hold the bottle of sodium alginate above the beaker, okay, and squeeze so the drops go into the beaker. So, chi'n mynd i gymryd yr hylif gwyrdd, okay, a rhoi squeeze mewn fyna, so squeeze. Now, be careful not to touch the liquid, the water in there with the bottle, okay, so squeeze mewn. Na fe, so, na fe, good, da iawn. The next step is squeeze again, but this time for longer so that more of it will come out. Okay, so squeeze mwy caled.
So big squeeze.
Squeeze. Gallech chi ddefnyddio'r holl beth. You can use all of it if you want. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow, you're going for it. Diana, dyna ti. Fantastic. Hyfryd. Right, continue to squeeze until the bottle is empty. Fab. Okay, rowch y boteli lawr so you can put the bottles down. Now, this is the fun bit, okay? So, chi'n barod am hwn. The last step in this method is remove what you've just made, which is the sodium alginate, from the beaker using your stirring stick. So, ti eisiau defnyddio hwn? Brenni cymysgu, mae'n ffain.
Oh.
Mae'n ffain. Waw, edrychwch beth chi wedi wneud. Gobeithio chi'n gallu gweld fyna beth maen nhw newydd creu rhywbeth sy'n edrych bach fel seaweed. It looks like seaweed. It's actually made from seaweed. Sodium alginate is a seaweed extract. Very cool indeed. And I think they followed that method very well. So lots of command words used there. Okay, gorchmynion wedi cael ei ddefnyddio yn y dull yma. So i'n meddwl, bechgyn, oedd hwnna'n hawdd i wneud? Was that okay to do? Was it okay to follow?
Da iawn, excellent.
Amazing.
You can have a clap from me. Good job. Right, boys, do you want to go and sit back over there for one sec? I know, this is going to be hard to get you away. Promise, it's yours afterwards. Excellent work. Well done. Good job. There we go. Excellent work. Good job.
Okay, hyfryd, da iawn. A maen nhw'n lanhau, and they were tidying up after them.
I know, I love it.
Well done.
So that is how to follow a method. Hopefully, by us doing those two experiments, you could get a little bit of a taster for command words and for them being step by step. And hopefully, Rhys thinks that I followed her method for Nittinol correctly. And the boys there definitely did a fantastic job at following each of those stages in the method and producing what we wanted to at the end. They both got the same results. Neither of them missed a step or went wrong on any of the stages because that method was so clear. So now, this is what we need you to do. By next time, okay, we need you to write a method for our experiment. So let's quickly just recap. Our experiment is we are investigating which liquid is the best at cleaning the surface of those coins. We're changing the type of liquid and we're measuring the shininess. We've got to make sure that we record for a certain amount of time. You can pick any time for now. Go 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you want to put in there. We'll tweak our method next time. And we must use roughly the same amount of liquid. So by next time, we want you to write a step-by-step method of all those different bits, okay? You are more than welcome to start now at the end of this session, although we are aware that it may probably be lunchtime. And definitely getting a bit hungry here. So we want you to, have a go at writing your method. And we would love for you, just like you did with your predictions, to send in to us as many as you can. You can send it via Padlet. You can read out your method. It can be a voice recording, or a video, or you can send us a lovely photograph of your written work. We would love to show some of those as well. So just to recap some of those command words you might need for this one: pour, place, leave. We've got rub, once we rub the coins, once they're out of the liquid. Measure, record. All of those be really important for this experiment. And we will leave you with those words. There'll be a screen with those words. After this session has ended, they'll be there ready for you guys to complete your methods for us.
Felly, fel dwedodd Mel, really bwysig, pryd chi'n ysgrifennu eich dull fesul cam, cofiwch chi ddefnyddio gorchmynion, y geiriau yna sy'n gorffen gyda wch yn Gymraeg, okay? Felly, rhowch, gosodwch, amserwch, cofnodwch, tywalltwch, mae yna lwyth o eiriau gallwch chi ddefnyddio, a bydd rheina ar gael i chi wrth i chi ysgrifennu'r dull nawr neu cyn wythnos nesaf, ond does dim frys i chi wneud ni. Okay? Cofiwch gyda popeth i chi wneud trwy Padlet neu mewn ffordd gwahanol i tagio ni ar cyfryngau cymdeithasol, so SparkLab ac e-sgol, bydd hynny'n wych, bydd ni'n hoffi gweld nhw.
So again, just repeating what Rhys said there, don't forget, send us in your work as long as your teacher has checked it and they're happy with what you've got, with what you've done, send it over to us and tag us on social media, e-sgol and SparkLab, and we are really looking forward to seeing you guys next week, when we will, don't forget, be doing our experiment. So all of that equipment that we've talked about today, you will need that this time, well, 11 o'clock next Wednesday, when we complete our practicum. So thank you very much.
A fi'n credu falle newn ni orffen trwy ddweud diolch yn fawr i'n helper ni. Thank you so much to our helpers today.
Give them a wave, guys.
Well done.
Hwyl fawr.
Da iawn, hwyl fawr.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.